Hi everyone, welcome back to another video, and this is for Anything But a Card, Challenge Black, challenge number 44. And the theme for February is friendship, and I did a 6x6 canvas that I picked up at Goodwill last year before we moved. And to prep the canvas, I took white backing from my napkin that I had. And you know how napkins have like 2 or 3 layers to them. I think this one only has 1 layer to it. So I took that napkin and scrunched it, well not this one, the white backing, and scrunched it up to get some texture like that. And I glued that down with matte medium, let that dry, and then I added some paint. I used patina and a lemonade, which is like a yellow-green. And then I used a purple, and I wasn't liking how it was looking, so I adjusted over everything and just stuck with the patina and the lemonade. You can see right there, it's like a yellow-green. And then after that dried, I put down some drywall tape, which was a leftover piece from a art drilling class a few months ago. And I cut it various widths and lengths. And then I did some spraying with Punchinella and Illusion spray in, I think, London Blue. I think that's the color I used. And I heat set that to dry. And then I took the cut grass and the fresh lime Delusion sprays and tried to do some splats by unscrewing the cap and just using the sprayer, the stick, reflect it on the page. I wasn't liking how that was looking because I wasn't getting any color on there from the flicking, but I did get some splats. Heat set that to dry, and then I took a Unwell Studio stencil in confetti hearts, and I took Heidi Swapp's Color Shine in the tinsel, and I sprayed it directly onto the stencil and used that stencil as a stamp. And I didn't get a clear impression, which was fine, but I got, cool results from it. Little, splatters. So I heat that to dry, and then I did some stamping. I used all Viva Las Vegas stamps on here. I used the line chevrons, and I also used like the quarter bullet for 2 of the corners right there. And I stamped everything in black craft paint, and I washed the stamps immediately after I used them. Then, what else did I do? Oh, and then I took Tim Holtz Distress Stain in Brush Pewter, and I just squeezed the bottle along the top here. And it did drip a little bit, but I did spray with water to make better drips. And I did that over here, and I did it over here. I also put the napkins, when I did the napkin layer, on all 4 sides, so it can be painted later. Then after I dried that, while that was drying, I should say, I took some of the wood pieces. The arrows are from Studio Calico, and the banners are from American Craft. And the greens I did first. I took I think the fresh lime Delusion spray and sprayed it on the wood pieces, and I think I did a little spray of the cut grass to get 2 tones. And the ink was soaking into the wood. I didn't gesso beforehand, and I should have. And I didn't like how it was looking because I want that bright green color like the Delusion sprays are. So then I, heat it to dry, and then I gessoed over that, and then I didn't like how that was looking because I sprayed after I gessoed it, and it still wasn't the results I wanted. So after more spraying and more gesso, I decided to take Wicker White craft paint. I think it's by Folk Art, and that one is a little, more watery than the other craft paints out there. I don't know why just that paint color is, more watery or liquidy than the other craft paints from Folk Art. But it was, and it was picking up the color of the Delusions spray, and I liked how that was looking because it a little white and then the green. So I just left it alone. And then the blues that you see here, I just painted with the patina. I didn't bother with the sprays after messing around with the green. So after everything was dry, all the wood pieces, I stamped them with Viva Las Vegas Stamps washi background stamps. And I used these you can see better. I used the chevron, the line, and the grid, open grid with black craft paint. And then I glued them on with Hallmark 450 quick dry. And then I thought, looking at them, it needed something else, so I decided to take out my Artist Left Pearl Essence watercolors and painted them with the white one. It's more, this clearer one out of the palette. And I wasn't liking that. Still needed a little, something. So I dug out my rock candy stickles and put that on there, painted with my finger carefully, especially the green ones, because I knew it would pick up the spray from the illusions. And let that alone to dry, and then I tested this because it was a thin layer of rock candy stickles, and tested them with my finger, and this one was a lot more wet. It wasn't dry yet, and I smeared the delusion spray off, and that did not make me happy. So I tried fixing it directly on here, but it wasn't working, so I had to take a heat gun to heat up the glue and take it off. And I was trying fixing it how it should be, how it was before. It wasn't working, so I just took a lime green craft paint and painted over it and re-stamped it and re-stickled it and glued it back on. And that's why it looks a little bit different than the others, but what can you do? So after that, I went on Brainery.com to look for a friendship quote, and I didn't see anything that I liked because I wanted to use that stamp right there, and I didn't see anything that I liked that would fit that image. So I decided to go on Pinterest, and I found this one, and it says, a true friend is someone who never gets tired of listening to your pointless drama over and over again. And I typed that up while copying, I typed it up on Notepad, because I don't have Word on there, on my computer, and I printed it. And the font I used was called Rubber Stamp, I think. And I glued it down with, I think, glue and seal, because the brush is nice and small, because I have the little jars, and that brush is nice and small, and I like it. And then for the girls, which was also from Viva Las Vegas Stamps, I stamped on white cardstock with VersaFine ink pad, and I colored them in with Prismacolor pencils. And I also use the baby oil and a Q-tip to blend it, and it doesn't look too bad. And I popped them up with foam tape, as you can see, and then to make sure they held, I used Hallmark 450 quick dry and stuck them down. And then the final step, I have a small pot of silver Viva Decor Inca Gold, and that was all dried up, and I was so mad because it was been in storage for so long, and I hardly used it to begin with. So I stuck a baby wipe, a little bit of a baby wipe inside the jar. Now I can't get the stupid jar open, but I did manage to use it after a little bit. But while that was trying to moisten, I had a bigger jar that I got at Michael's way back when, last year, and I used that on here just to hit the highlights on the front here, like when I did the napkin. So I did that, and then up here on the top, or the sides, I painted all the sides with black craft paint, and then the Viva Decor in the silver was somewhat wet enough that I did all the sides. And of course now I, put the baby wipe back on that little jar, and I closed the jar, and now I can't open the stupid jar because it wasn't on straight, the jar, crook-eyed. So that's that for now, and be sure to go on my blog to see close-up pictures of how I did this along the way, and be sure to check out Anything But a Card Challenge blog to see what the other designers are doing and play along. Thanks for watching.